I'm Richard Randall, and welcome back to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate with the host of the program, Barb Schlinker, Your Real Estate Voice, and the owner broker of Your Home Sold, Guaranteed Realty. Now, Barb, in this market, there are many more homes that are not selling. So, what are the improvements that increase the home value so that home sellers can get the most money when they are selling their home?
Well, Richard, for most people, it's not what you think. You'd be really surprised at some of the things that can make a big difference between the homes sitting there on the market for a while and not selling and the ones that are selling. First of all, of course, it's price. So when you have a market that's slightly declining, a lot more competition, you have to be priced right. All the marketing in the world does not matter if it's not priced appropriately because the buyers understand the market. But what's really odd is that overall the prices are heading up. So how do you prepare as a home seller? You really only get one shot to make an impression. And your shot is what's presented online in less than 60 seconds. So first of all, it has to be priced very realistically. That doesn't necessarily mean it has to be fixed up, but if it's not fixed up, there's a different price for that. So you have to understand you're going to price it way below what the full retail Corinthian leather remodeled look is. I had some fun with this morning because I was kind of studying things like, okay, so what actually does give value for a home? Does it really matter if you go in and gut the kitchen and spend who knows how much and remodel? It depends. It depends on the price point. I wouldn't do it to sell as long as it's functional, as long as things aren't broken, like you don't have fractured formica and stuff like that. It's okay. And it does depend on the price point. If you're in a lower price point, sometimes remodeling a whole kitchen might be an over upgrade. You will get a good ROI on things like appliances for sure, as long as they match and they work and they're clean and they're functional. A lot of people don't want to take on broken stuff. So you just have to plan on that when you're selling a home. So one of the ways you can get the most money is just take a very objective view of your house and look at these 6 rooms. The first one's curb appeal. Now, you may not get the money out of putting $100,000 in landscaping. If you can do a lot of the work yourself, that's fine. But in general, it just has to be neat and tidy, little things like freshen the mulch beds. It's kind of too late in the season to plant flowers, but you might be able to put some flower pots in there until it starts to snow by the front door. Paint the front door. We should have some warm weather left that you can do that. Fix the broken doorbell. Fix the broken mailbox. Make sure the yard front and back looks cleaned up and inviting, because that is that subliminal first impression that takes place as people are walking towards the house. The next room you got to really think about, of course, is the living room. Now, people don't live in the home the same way they sell a home. So you really have to make it look very austere and like a model to get people in the door. And some of the things that actually command the most money are very, very neutral paint, especially for living rooms. A light beige or grayish, as they say, is very popular right now. The same in the kitchen. The other room that's important is the master bathroom. So if you have, outdated fixtures, if you have messed up counters, like the counters I used to have in my master bath were made of slate tile, which if you put a bottle of water that was cold, that was dripping from the condensation, it would stain those tiles. It was that porous. So I couldn't wait to get rid of that, but it costs a lot of money. It's going to take a lot of years for me to get that return on my investment, but I love it now and that's fine. Another thing that really matters is the master bedroom as well. So you want to declutter as much as possible. Use a light color bedspread. Don't do these heavy, dark, or dramatic colors. And then I also read that according to Zillow, there are two colors that you put on paint that can actually reduce your sales price. One of them is yellow and the other is red, especially red, because red turns fuchsia online. It changes colors online. So make sure that when you're neutralizing the paint in your house, that you get it right. Because we know most buyers are eliminating homes online, clutter is not your friend. That's an easy, free thing that you can do to make it look good. I'm showing a picture right now. This bathroom is my favorite one to talk about because it was such a low price place. It should have flown off the shelf during the boom. But because her pictures were so bad, because the staging was bad, because you're looking at this big giant cat box, so that eliminates a certain that eliminates a certain percentage of people that are allergic to cats right out of the gate. All the clutter on the counter, the listing agent is imaged in the mirror, rugs on the floor. The shower curtain is closed. If you close a shower curtain, people think that there's mold back there. Okay. So you don't want any weird assumptions taking place if you have less than a minute to make an impression. It's absolutely critical. So what improvements increase value? Obviously, kitchens and baths. Now, that doesn't mean you have to remodel a kitchen. I actually had one this year that I sold that the kitchen appliances, most of them were 1960s vintage, but they still worked. They still looked good. And the seller chose to price it appropriately. And we sold that home for $15,000 over asking price. And so marketing is critical too. A lot of agents think marketing is you maybe get some professional photos, stick it in the multiple listing service, and then that copies over to the websites where the buyers are actually looking, which is Zillow, Realtor.com, Homes.com. And then, that's their marketing. But what I'm finding though is that people don't actually look in the actual MLSs. I can't even get the real estate agents to read the showing instructions in the actual multiple listing service, even though I serve it up to them on text on their phone with the showing service. They don't read that either. They connect with the buyer somehow. They open a door, hope they love it, then they start exploring after. So a lot of agents don't have a solution for their buyers if they have a house to sell. So every single week I'm getting requests from agents going, well, my buyer has a house to sell. Do you think your seller would reserve your home for us and wait for my buyer to sell the house, which, by the way, is not even on the market yet? I mean, Richard, to me, it's a non-offer. What do you think?
I think it's a non-author offer completely. And that's why it is something that I would only trust someone like you to handle, because this is not the kind of thing you can handle if you just got a real estate license after a couple of months in real estate school and you have no context, no idea how to market, no idea how to negotiate. You have no idea what to do when you get in a situation like this.
Yeah, and then we've got things like the multiple listing service that are working against us in that situation. They actually require that you put the status in the MLS, which is called right of refusal, which indicates that the seller accepted an offer contingent on somebody's house selling, but it's not sold yet. So it's supposed to indicate to other agents that if they had a buyer that didn't have a house to sell, they might have an opportunity to get that house. But the problem is there's a very low bar for education, and buyers don't search by that. Agents don't search by that. And on top of that, when that coding of right of refusal translates to the websites where the buyers are, it shows as if the home is unavailable and under contract. So it creates all kinds of demand destruction. I'm just amazed that they have these rules that work against our home sellers. And it does basically reserve the house for the buyer waiting and waiting and waiting for them to maybe sell their home. So we do have solutions. We have trade up programs. We have buy before you sell programs. We have cash offers. Even if the agent brings us an offer and their buyer has a house to sell, we can get their buyer a cash offer on their house so they can buy your home without a sale contingency, which makes your home more valuable. So we have all these programs that we can help people with. Those are some of the little things as far as conditions or circumstances that can actually make your home more valuable, that don't include upgrading the home at all. My name is Barb Schlinker. I'm the broker owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty and the host of this show, Your Real Estate Voice. And we're talking about what is it that increases home value. And when we come back, we're going to talk about a few other pointers that might make your home go up in value. Now, not all real estate agents are the same. And the number one question I get from home sellers, besides what do you think my home is worth, is what do I need to do to get the house ready for sale? So we help people do that every single week. And we try to make it easy for people to buy your home as well as be able to sell their home in that situation. Richard?
We're talking here with Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, and you can always reach Barb at 719-301-3900. Barb, we're talking about how to sell your home and, of course, for the most money. So what are some things that increase a home's value at sale?
Well, what the home seller controls is condition. And no matter what the market is, if the home is priced appropriately, if it's in good condition, it's way more likely to sell than ones that are not in good condition. Like I talked about the 1960s kitchen. I just sold a house about a week ago that was not, a full-on remodel, but the seller chose to price it right and ended up actually with a bidding war, almost $1 million. But what you can control are things like deferred maintenance, like if the carpet is tired. And then here's some other things that you could run across if you're selling a home, that outside influences have an impact on your home's condition. Number one, the latest thing that's been happening is homeowner insurance companies are saying, oh, we won't insure that house unless the roof is less than 10 years old. And most of the time roofs last longer than that, unless they got, hit by a hailstorm or something like that. So I don't know who came up with that arbitrary rule, but I actually got an offer a few weeks ago saying, unless the seller replaces the roof, we're not buying it. I'm like, wow, okay, bye-bye, because the roof, there was nothing wrong with the roof. You can usually deal with the age of a furnace with a home warranty, unless you think it might be close to failing. Generally, they last about 22 years. But the water heater to me is the most interesting thing. So if you do a home inspection, these unlicensed, unqualified home inspectors will automatically deem a water heater dead if it's more than 8 to 10 years old. Same with smoke detectors and carbon monoxide detectors. They will encourage the buyer to ask for new stuff like this. So if you want to get ahead of it, those are relatively inexpensive things that you could take care of if you plan to go on the market if your water heater is old. Ours lasted, I think, 22 years until it started to show signs of corrosion. But if you're going to sell it, you really don't want to have any of these objections. Another thing that can really be a problem that most people don't check unless there's a backup or a problem is the sewer or septic system. Those can be very costly and very time consuming. So I definitely would check all of those systems out before you go on the market. Another thing you can handle is curb appeal. Relatively easy to paint the front door, mulch, fix the doorbell, make the backyard look good. Same with flooring. You want the flooring to be move-in ready. Appliances should match. And it's absolutely critical that you get great photos online. And most of all is pricing it correctly. We know how to do that. So if you are thinking of making a move, give us a call, 719-301-3900, or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
You're listening to Barb Schlinker, Your Real Estate Voice. Barb's from Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, the owner proprietor there, host of the program, and you can always reach her at 719 301 3900. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll be discussing what to do if you want to buy a home, but you already have a house to sell. Catch 22. Barb will explain it.